Let's hear it for your Sydney Swans. Cheers, cheers, the red and the white. Honour the name by day and by night.
Welcome back to A Bevy of Bloods, a fan podcast of the Sydney Swans Football Club.
So to all you loyal Swans out there, you just can't get enough of the red and the white.
Fluff up your tail feathers and settle in for a potentially biased yarn about all things to do with our beloved Bloods.
While our loyal Swans are marching towards the victory.
G'day there, Cygnets and Swanlings. Welcome back to A Bevy of Bloods. You're joined as always by the crew from Sydney. I'm Harps. I've got Noddy and Waughsie along for the ride.
That's right, you loyal Swans fans. Today we're going to be talking about our loss to the Cats and look ahead to the final game of the season on Saturday evening against the Eagles in Perth. And remember, if you enjoy what you hear, give us a like and a follow. Okay, let's kick things off with a quick game recap.
Yep, Sunday afternoon, 38,000 fans at the SCG. Lovely day in Sydney, but the Cats are a very good side and they beat us by 43 points. Second half thrashing. It was Melican's 100th. It was Blakey's 150th game, but it wasn't enough to get us over the line. 10 goals, 868 to the Swans to 16 goals, 15. A lot of scoring shots. The Cats 111. Noddy, Waughsie, you were both there. It was lovely to see you both. Noddy, you want to go first? What are your 3 words, mate?
Jez's 100 hampered. But that's in jest. You know, it's obviously good to keep him goalless. But he is a fantastic player, obviously, and he's had a great year. But it was really nice to shut him down. But in all seriousness, 3 words: Cats too good. They were just too good. We were in it for the first quarter and maybe the first half, or until half time, and then they just went to another level and we couldn't keep up. And same sort of issues, just kind of went missing mentally, physically. Our stars, if one of Heaney, Goulden or Chad are a fraction off or there's a bit of tension going their way, then, it seems to break down. And our other players, we don't have a second or third gear. So obviously Grundy out was big, but Pistol Pete, pyong, 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 pretty good.
It was good. Waughsie, what are your 3 words, mate?
Cats run right.
Yeah.
Enough said, really.
Enough said. Well, mine actually was very similar. I went for what a list. And I don't mean the Swans list. I mean that Cats list. They got Neil, Dangerfield, Smith, Cameron, Stengel. We were saying that back line looks like they've got identical 6'4", 6'6" triplets in the back line there. I mean, just a great team. Like, I didn't enjoy watching the game. It was a hard game to watch in the second half, but I admire the team they've got going there. They're a formidable opponent. So, yeah, and it was good to see Dangerfield live. I can't remember seeing him live at the G for a while. I enjoyed that. I thought Smith actually was really impressive too. So, yeah, just a good side, and we weren't good enough.
And they were firing. They look good. They're a very well-oiled team. They have their role players, they're young guys, but they're just their core of senior players. They're just too classy, and that list of players. Weren't the AFL going to do an audit on Geelong, the footy club, to see if they were not pulling any dodgy salary moves there? Yeah, maybe we need to get on board, Harps.
That's right. I'd like to run over those numbers, Noddy.
Just have a quick look. You might end up with a farm yourself, mate. It'd be nice to have a little bit of grass in lawn or Birregurra.
That's right. Something over the bay. And look, if we're going to get a cost of living positive differential, Sydney being such an expensive city, they should have a cost of living negative differential, shouldn't they? Geelong being one of the cheaper outposts of Melbourne.
Yeah, which, they could just field 17 players on the field if they wanted. It's their choice. We're going to have some flexibility with this. But listen, I'm sure AFL House has done a very, very good job in verifying that everything is above board, and they themselves have been declining the offers of farms and homesteads and cotton on sponsorships. But look, it's obviously we're joking. They're a very good team and they're in the mix again, aren't they? I think they've pretty much what is it? They've locked up top 4, so they're gonna have two bites at it again. So it's hard to not respect the Geelong Footy Club. They're a bit like us. They're pretty consistently in the mix, right? We've gone through a lot of change this year. We had a lot of injuries early on. Obviously, horse to Cox. There's a bit of a teething period there with the game plan, but yeah, the Cats are going deep again. So
yeah, they are. They
almost writes itself, that headline.
My sister used to live in Geelong. It's a beautiful city as well, and a great ground. I mean, they got it all going for them. Yeah,
and we learned last week Waugie's dog, Jesse.
Very good, mate.
Jesse,
You were listening. You were paying attention.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, from Geelong originally. So
he was.
Yeah.
So Waughsie, let's start with you, mate. What were your impressions of the game as a whole? How did you find it?
Oh, as a whole, it was painful. It was a great start, though. No, 3 quick goals. It was really exciting. We thought for a minute, maybe, just maybe, we could do the job on them just like we did on the Lions, but alas, no. Look, highlight for me, I think, was probably that run from Blakey straight into O'Connor, who managed to release the ball to Braden Campbell, who scored a cracker from 60 metres out, right?
Yeah, that was the best set play of the day, I think.
That was just beautiful.
Yeah. And Blakey in his 150th as well.
Yeah.
So
the lizard cam and all the lizard clappers and the 38,000 little faces of Nick. Well, probably wasn't that many, but there was, because you had to push his face out of the cardboard to put your own face in. So I left the stadium, there were just Nick Blakey faces on the ground everywhere, which is kind of haunting. But it was a cool little thing, I guess. As we were saying, a shame we couldn't get the win for those guys and their milestones. But we haven't really done too much of that this year for our milestone guys. So I guess that's consistent. But just to your point, Waughsie, I thought we came out firing. It was very exciting footy, and again, really fast handball chains and carving them up. And the first 10 minutes, I thought, look out. And we missed 2 gettable set shots. We could have been up 5-0 or something like that. And it was almost like first quarter of the 2022 grand final where we could have been up by, 6 goals to 1 or something. But it was sort of, as we were saying, it was a quarter of 2 halves, that first quarter. And, we owned the first 10, and then they just had the second 10 minutes. And then second quarter, they steadily rose over us. And then, although we were in contention, we were close enough. We went to halftime at 9 points down. And then it was all over Red Rover from there. But, showed exciting signs again, but just not in it for long enough, and not able to change our tactics and nullify, which is really disappointing, I think. But I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said last week, I certainly thought it. I don't know if I said it, but Brisbane are a dangerous team. Like when they get going, they can score quickly. And really blow you off the park. And there are other teams that can do that as well. But Geelong are just, I think I compared them to the Melbourne Storm. They're just not necessarily that razzle dazzle. They're just good, right? They're just consistent. Like they scored 4 goals every quarter. I mean, some of those set shots, like Neil was flushing it from the boundary. Like I can't remember what happened when who scored that goal when McCartan put it out deliberately and played
Brian
on
Myers. I think it was Myers, yeah. I mean, Campbell. I mean, that was, come on. Campbell was right there.
Yeah, I thought that was hard.
I don't know how you give that.
Yeah.
Every other week, if that was Collingwood at the MCG, it'd be like ball up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, after they checked that Dacos was okay, they would check that first and then ball it up. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, they just don't miss, right? And like, again, I was watching Dangerfield and just the decision making, like on the edge of the 50, like he got the ball between the centre square and the 50 a number of times, just took his time, picked his pass, kept it low, hit a pair of hands, like, just outside the goal, and they scored relentlessly. It's a hard team to play against. I think they'll be there right at the end.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, their role players are just so well drilled, like Tom Atkins, Sean Manno, who's like a revelation, Ryan Myers, we've already spoken about, O'Connor, who did the job on Heaney. You know, who else is coming through there? Some of those young key talls, they just do their job. Blitzars is just, you know, role player, just to a T. And and then but they all work in harmony. They know what they're doing. It's just very clear, you know, and it's not about necessarily doing their game plan, because obviously we were on fire. They had to nullify our game plan, and they're really good at that. They can obviously take a message well and then execute that. So I just feel like there's a real disconnect between. Like, I think there was a presser. I didn't watch it, but there was a clip or whatever. Coxie saying, you know, we've got to be able to switch modes. You know, like we've got to be able to defend regardless of what type of play we're doing at that. You know, whether it's quick ball forward or structured kick mark. You've got to be able to flick the switch and defend. But I just seemed like, especially from that second quarter onwards, they were just trapping us in that in our defensive 50, and then just coming back with points on turnover. You know, I think that was probably the biggest difference in the stat. Like, it was mostly an even game. You know, they had a few more inside 50s, were more accurate, kicking them from bloody everywhere, as you said, Harps. But yeah, I think they just I don't know. It was just good, wasn't it? They were just good, and
yeah. I agree. I agree with everything you said. I was listening, and I think actually it's. I was just reflecting it. I think it's something that's keeping us from being in the top 8 and being a challenging team at the moment. Because I must say, even in the second quarter, I was watching us, and I was thinking, watching us play against them. So that's like 45 minutes of game time by then. And I was thinking, I can't believe we're not in September. Like, we look really good. Like, I can't believe we're not going to pair off against a team like this in a couple of weeks' time. But you're right, there's been several times this season, right? I think back to that first game against the Hawks, where close game, and then it rained, and then we got spanked in the last quarter. Collingwood game was close until I think 3/4 time, and then they started going up the wings and they smashed us then. That Geelong game, you're right, we were right in it, and then they changed their tactics and we couldn't adapt and we lost. Yeah, you're right. There's no execution of Plan B, and it's costing us games. And the good teams, to your point, the good teams stick around, they figure out a way, and they change their game plan, and they win. I think we need to focus on it in the off season.
Sydney didn't really have anything to play for. This weekend, which makes a difference, right?
I think that's a massive point, Waughsie. I really do. Like, even I was surprised it was a bigger crowd than I thought. I mean, it was a cracking day. We were in the sun for what felt like 3 hours, but yeah, the crowd wasn't really there, right? We were there, but we weren't really cheering us on. I mean, a good indicator is that Papley scored a goal, I think, in the third or fourth quarter, and he didn't do any of his normal rev up.
Yeah, he didn't, did he? No.
We were only like maybe 3 or 4 goals away there, which is, you know, if you think about AFL footy, I mean, just last week, the Brisbane Lions almost beat us when they were 3 or 4 goals down with 4 minutes to go or something, you know?
Yeah.
Like, there was we didn't look like we were interested in fighting back.
I like that the crowd was there, but it wasn't really there. It was there. There was a lot of Cats fans, and they certainly yelled and screamed a bit. There was one stage I tried to get a Sydney chant going, and I was just singing by myself like a lunatic.
Look, I don't know. It was obviously it's a disappointing way to finish the season at home. It would be nice to go out on a win, and also I think it's the first season in a while we haven't scored over 100 points at the SCG. I might need to fact check that, but I saw that pop up, and that feels correct because I think we'd only kicked 100 a couple of times, right? Not against North and somewhere else, but it wasn't at home. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of work to be done in the off season, both mentally with the list itself. But I think I'm confident we'll bounce back. But then, obviously there's one more game next week, but
yeah. On a related point, actually, I took all 3 daughters, and my wife. We all went on Sunday, which was ambitious. I thought we were going to lose, and I did warn them. I said, I think this could be a hard game. I actually thought we'd lose it in the ruck. We'll get to Laddams in a bit, but that was not where we lost it. But to your point, Noddy, about losing at home, my youngest daughter came to the win over I think Freo a few weeks back. And the other one came to the GWS win. The middle daughters came to that. That was a good win. But I had to pull my oldest one aside and say, she's been to 3 games this year. She went to the Lions game up top, the Port Adelaide game we lost by 8, and then the Cats. And I said, look, I'm sorry you didn't get to see us win. Like the difference when you take a kid and you win, and they're surrounded by just people who are over the moon and they're throwing them in the air and buying them treats and stuff, versus when you take them and you lose and they have to sit on a train with you for 90 minutes while you're bummed and looking out the window.
I thought you were going to say you told her that she couldn't come anymore because she was a bad luck charm. You're going to have to sit this season out, Dub.
This is a hard discussion. But I'm afraid you can't come anymore. You can't be a Swans fan anymore.
Nah, not true, obviously. And
I want you to support Geelong, actually, my dear.
Careful. But you guys, you got onto the field after the game for kick to kick. They did kick to kick the first time this year, right? I don't think they've done it.
They did.
Yeah, we got down there, Noddy. We had everything except the ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
A kick to kick 101.
Good planning.
We were told there would be a ball, and then we turned up, and the people were meeting.
We assumed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Some miscoms. Fair play.
Yeah. But I was actually struck by how it was very wet ground. Like, I mean, there was a bit of slipping again on Sunday.
Yeah, there was.
It's quite chewy. I mean, it's a tricky little ground. It's interesting when you're down there. You can appreciate. You don't get down there often, obviously, right? You appreciate the size of it, and the physicality that goes into moving around the ground. And then, as I say, it was very slippery by that time. So the conditions are pretty tough when you get that late in the evening.
Yeah. Just on that, I think I read some news tonight saying that GWS and or Richmond, or maybe that fixture, they're keen to have games at the SCG next year. Yeah, when obviously I think Swans fans are revolted by that thought, and I'm probably one of them. But I just think like with the issues we've had this year, that's the other thing. The ground is going to have to really. I mean, there'll be a summer of cricket surely, but yeah, man, the ground this year has been as slippery as our footy approach.
It has been. It has been. Let's talk about the Bob Medal. There were some bright spots.
Yep.
Waughsie, we'll go with you first, mate. Your Lizard's namesake, the Lizard. You're impressed by his game. I think you're impressed by his stats too. Blakey, we gave him 1 point.
Yep.
I think you're impressed with the meters gained.
I was. He had 700 plus metres gained, which compared to any other Sydney player was almost double, which is impressive.
Best on ground.
With 23 disposals as well. So in amongst it. So I love his energy. As I mentioned earlier, I love that run up the corridor that he's so good at. Lit us up for a second till he got flattened. And but even then, he came back and kept on going. Love it.
Yeah. 5 scoring involvements. What do you have? 23 touches at 82%. That's pretty good. Not too many wayward kicks as well. He's an interesting one, isn't he? He's obviously found his spot off the halfback, but he might be as damaging on the wing, with a bit more license to go forward, and because he obviously can kick goals, right? So, but anyway, I thought he had a good game. I
know the contractual ins and outs of most players. Noddy. It's a question without notice. When's he around till? Do you know when he's
our longest contracted player? He's through to 2030, I think.
Wonderful.
He got it done early. He was like one of the first cabs off the rank when they all started doing decade-long contracts. I just think he just loves the Swans, and he's got no interest in playing anywhere else. And I love that about him.
He's a Sydney boy, Noddy?
So, yeah, he grew up in Sydney. So his father played with Longmire at North Melbourne. So he could have gone father-son to North Melbourne. But he grew up in Sydney because obviously his dad was assistant coach at the Swans for a long time. And so he was an academy product. And he nominated for the Swans in his draft year, and we took him obviously at, I think it was around pick 10 or so. But he obviously played his juniors as a key forward. So I think when he first debuted, he was sort of around the midfield on the wing, and then obviously found a home at halfback. And he's all Australian quality when we're playing well last year. So yeah, I think he's awesome. He's awesome. He's a larrikin. He's a team first player, and he's one that I just always want to see in the red and white.
That's right. Looking forward to seeing him next year. And another man we're looking forward to seeing next year, Tom Papley. It wasn't his usual fire starting performance, but we gave him 2 points. We liked the goals, 2 goals, 20 disposals. I mean, the pundits actually placed him very highly, didn't they? I must say, I didn't notice him much on the day, but he was there or thereabouts. Any thoughts on him, guys?
I think I think he 2031. Apologies, guys, not 2030. Nick Blakey. He sort of he was good. He was good. He tried his best, right? There wasn't. It's what do you say? He had a bit of run through the midfield at times to kind of spark to varying degrees of success, but I think they're just Geelong back six. They're very well oiled, right? We'll speak about this. They're tall, but they're able to just communicate well to shut out smalls. So yeah, look, I thought Papley was lively as he typically is, but yeah, unfortunately, it wasn't that that fire starter that he can be to get things back our way in the second half. But still played well. Kicked his 300th goal. So with the 2, he got to 301. But it didn't really. There wasn't much fanfare, because he's sort of the captain of that, right? The goal celebrations. He's well known for that, but he kept it under wraps, and I think that's sort of an indicator. I think what Waughsie was saying about Q in the rack and not really didn't seem like the heart was in it. But good game.
I was just thinking the same. He's maybe one of those players that plays his best when it's on the line. I mean, he's always been a bit of a not a red mist player, but one of those players that you can tell is fully emotionally committed. And I agree. I thought he was there or thereabouts without putting on one of his classic performances.
Yep, 2 goals, 20 disposals. Did we say that already? So that's a pretty tidy stat line for a small forward come midfielder.
Well, let's get to the main event then. Can we have a drum roll, Waughsie?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Surprise 3-point winner. First time this season appearing on the Bob. Pistol Pete Laddams. I went into the game worried about his performance, but I think he was our best on ground personally. A couple of goals, missed a sitter early on. I thought, here we go. But no, he got him back. Nice goals. 35 clearances, I think, boys. The big man.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. What do we think? Oh, sorry, 10 clearances, 35 hitouts. Yeah. What do you guys think?
Brilliant. Yeah, I thought fantastic. So some of his tap work in centre bounce to Heaney, especially Heaney, like early on, like first half, some of those taps were just perfect, like pure hit out to advantage, clearance, running forward. Just really, really quite nice to see. I mean, obviously Grundy's got the follow up. He's got the, probably the footy smarts. But it's good to see the depth is there. It's just about how can you use him. I think there was talk of him having extended 2 years. And it makes sense, obviously, if he's able to put on a game like that against, and let's acknowledge that Reece Stanley is not a league leading ruck, and Blitzar's chop out is pretty handy, but he did very well. If he'd kicked 3 straight, it's all the more impressive. But I think it didn't really matter. Like I thought it was great. Was he? You saw it the same way?
Yeah, really enjoyed his work in the middle, and the goals were great. Icing on the cake.
Yeah. 17 disposals, couple of 3 tackles, 17 disposals, 13 contested. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I took a lot of heart from the performance, like for a couple of reasons. We've been saying for a while, if Grundy gets injured, I don't know what the plan B is. And I before this game, I wasn't convinced it was Laddams, but I'm convinced enough now. I'd give him another run, in that role again, and he might get another run against the Eagles on Saturday evening. Because Grundy's still doing his concussion test, so we don't know if he's back. But contrasting to a lot of the other players we talked about there, you could feel his effort the whole way through. He was giving 100%.
Yeah.
Every effort he was trying all he had, which I respect. Right, he's playing for his place in the team. And yeah, look, until I saw that performance, I thought he was okay, but I think he's a serviceable second ruck. Grundy's obviously going to take that spot every day of the week over most rucks in the competition. It's no reflection on Laddams. Grundy would get in over, he's possibly all Australian, right? So, but I think as a backup, and just signed a 2-year contract, I think he's a good option. I was really impressed with his work rate, and his output as well was good too.
Well, I think that was the idea. We took him from Port with, quiet hopes that he might take that first ruck mantle, and then obviously the planets aligned and we're able to get Grundy for 600,000 while the Pies pay 3 or 4 or whatever 100,000 to the end of the contract, maybe to the end of maybe one more year. But I think the question is it's that structure, that depth. It's the ruck forward position, which has pretty much been McLean's for the last 2 years, this year included.
Yeah.
But then obviously Logan out all year. We don't really know where he's sitting. We want him to come back big, Phil Thorpe, just big beard, kind of Viking type gains. That's what I'm hoping. But then Amadi obviously has been interrupted. He's had soft tissue again. Looked good in patches. But then Buller has been a surprise packet. So, and they're all sort of capable of playing that ruck forward. But is Laddams consistent enough to be that key, mainly key forward and chop out in the ruck, being an actual ruck? It's a structure it's untried really, but possible. Obviously, very positive what we saw.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like, actually, it's a good lead into the honourable mentions. I was going to mention McLean. I thought I liked his marking, I liked his goals. But before we get into it, I think as a comparison point to Laddams, you're right. If they both are either a forward who does some auxiliary rucking, McLean is a better forward. I don't know how he compares to Laddams as a ruck, probably slightly below. Laddams needs to, I think, up the forward game, to your point, if he's going to be the second ruck and hold down the spot. But if he's not, if he's a squad player, and if this season's taught us anything, it's that big men are injured pretty frequently. So we'll probably get a bit of a run.
Yeah, definitely, and that's probably the thinking. I thought maybe he would get at least, I had him pegged for 1, but maybe through conversations with club and manager, they managed to get 2. I think that's reasonable. Like, he's 27 or something, 204 centimeters. Like, he's a ruck, right? And as you're saying, if Grundy goes down, we need something and someone, and he can definitely fill that void. But can he provide more value elsewhere? I think that's on him. That's on refining his goal kicking routine. Some of his decision making when he's away from stoppage or centre bounce, like just being a bit more, dominant in the air. I saw him he took an amazing pack mark in a VFL game 3 or 4 weeks ago. I just thought, man, that was hot. And Pistol Pete, he's capable of just moments. Remember that soccer volley?
Overhead kick.
Overhead,
I was going to say. Yeah.
He's capable of anything, this bloke. And brain fade's inclusive. But no, he's been good. I think he's matured a lot. And he looks like he's mates with almost everyone in the club, right? So he's obviously gelled well, and he's found his spot. And yeah, I feel good about the 2-year extension if that's confirmed. It seems to be, but yeah, it was good. He had a good game, and he can hold his head up high because he was definitely our key contributor for the whole game. Good
on you, Laddams. Any honourable mentions? Anyone else catch your eye?
Oh, look, I don't know. I think it's tricky, isn't it? I mean, Goulden and Warner they're just they can be so dominant. And when they're not, you think, oh, what's going on there? But Chad's a bit iffy. We're not going to go into that. We'll save that for another conversation. Yes. But look, I think Sheldrick had a few nice touches. I think Braden looked lively. He certainly looks fast, but he slipped off a few tackles, but you can't win them all.
Yes, he did.
He's another one that needs to get
bulk
into
up
the
a bit.
gym. Yeah, get in the gym over the break. Just like
I think
get it.
he's got it all
I'll-
right. He's
Yeah,
fast. He can
yeah.
kick a beautiful kick, and
Yeah.
but he's just a little bit too light. I
Yeah.
think.
I'll DM him, see if he wants to meet at Anytime Fitness Thornley.
I mean, that is how all great bromances start with that particular phrasing. But yeah, look, I think it was the end of last season, early this season. Jules saw him, I think, around Manly or over one of the beaches that way, and he was looking noticeably bigger. But yeah, I think I actually want everyone to get just do whatever the Giants are doing. We all need to get a bit bigger, not to totally lose our pace, but just get ripped and do a lot of mind meditation stuff. And then obviously a couple of 2Ks, maybe not back to back next season. But yeah, look, I don't know. We're sort of jumping ahead to season reviews. It's hard to not go there already with the season over. It's an empty feeling, isn't it, knowing that September is not going to be a mad rush for tickets.
Yeah, I'm enjoying just watching these games for what they are. And there's something, I watched Collingwood Adelaide, or Adelaide Collingwood Friday night, I think. It's nice just watching good teams go at it. If you just enjoy the football for what it is, it's actually quite nice not to have the emotional stress of thinking about losing in a grand final again.
Yeah, that's right.
So I know what you mean. What did you boys think of the Tolley Cleary substitution?
Yeah, I think it was probably at the right time. I think Tottoli, he's shown enough to to justify the debuts, but like all first year players, they need to go back down and come back up again. So that's inevitable. Cleary, I think, he had a few missed handballs when he came on, but I mean it's sort of reflective of where the team was at, right? It's not as if we were humming, and then to sort of, but yeah, I get it. There's some skill execution errors there that he can definitely work on. But for me, and I've had debates online with Swans fans, I think Cleary is tracking very nicely. It's Sydney boy. He's going to keep getting more and more experience. I just think he's going to be one of our contributors. He's going to be a contributor in our next flag, whenever that is.
Yeah, look, I've heard you a few times, and the jury, I think, is definitely out on Cleary for a lot of people. But I know you're very much on his side, and you're on Sheldrick's side as well, right? So we have to wait and see when that moves, don't we?
One thing I thought was the halftime vision when I was watching the replay, watching the line meetings, like when they sit in their circles. Sheldrick in the midfield group was very vocal, and Goulden was right there. And it's possible that Goulden had already spoken by the time the camera came on, but Gus was really, really contributing, and everyone was listening. And I thought, yeah, that's cool, because I think he's got the self-confidence now to know that he belongs at that level, that he's hanging around, and he's going to have a fingers crossed a big off season and come back and just explode next year.
Yeah,
we've seen moments of what he's capable of, right? So
he's a guy who doesn't need to get any bigger. He's a stocky guy. I mean, he's fit. Don't get me wrong, but he's as wide as a door.
Yeah, he's good. I like it. What did Jules call him? A meatball. I think it was Jules or someone. I might have thrown her under the bus there, but it was lovingly. It was a lovingly remark, a remark of love and attention. But yeah, I've said previously, I think he'd be a pretty good blindside flanker, or something like that in rugby. But yeah. I love his power. I mean, he's a powerful player, and powerful players are going to get better as they mature. I mean, look at Harley Reid, right? Even him. I mean, he's had moments of magic, and we've seen his power, but it's inconsistent because he's young. And yeah, I'm not suggesting that Sheldrick is on that level or vice versa. But yeah, I'm just excited to see how the next couple of seasons pan out for Gus and also Cleary.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Eagles. Speaking of Harley Reid,
yeah.
Grundy, I mean, no injuries picked up. Grundy is possible to come back. He's got his concussion test. And I think he probably would come back in. So let's assume he's okay. It was probably quite a light head knock, wasn't it, back in the Lions game? So let's
Yeah.
assume he's back in. Who do you bring him in for? It's a bit of talk of Hayward maybe, or Cleary making way. I mean, not exactly like for like, but probably players at the bottom end of the performance ladder this week at least.
Well, Waughsie, I don't know about you. I think it would be pretty stiff to drop Pistol Pete after a game like that.
Yeah, no, I'd agree, mate. We just gave him 3 bob points now. There's no way they can drop him.
No, that's right.
This is a direct line to Coxie. Whoever
right.
gets 3 in the bob is
Yeah.
better watch that. Yeah, look, I think well, that's what I'm talking about. Like structure. If Grundy's good to go and he's keen to come back, he might just say, "Look, I'll rest." But he's also got potentially AA on the line, so
Yeah.
So I think he does come back if he's good to go, and then I think we keep Lads as that forward ruck. But then it's whether Buller or McLean come out, or whether Hayward comes out. But then are we too tall? So yeah, look, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles are missing a fair few players like Oscar Allen, Harry Edwards, key defender. Harley Reid's out for the season. Jake Waterman's out. Elliot Yeo. These are all guys that would otherwise be definitely starters. So they've got a fair few youngsters with some senior players who are at the end of their career. But I mean, look, it's what are we expecting here, guys? Is it?
Well, before you predict, did anyone
Yeah.
hear JT? JT is a member of the bevy. Doesn't get mentioned often, but he's a very deep thinker, and doesn't overreact to a lot. Quite a rational man, and he said quietly to me in the fourth quarter on Sunday. He said, "I think we're going to lose to the Eagles."
Yeah, that's. I think when
that would be a bad way to finish the season.
That would be a worse way to finish the season than getting beaten by Geelong at home.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Considering they are wooden spooners and won one game all year. But
Yeah.
they're at home and they have push sides. So I'm not expecting it to be easy, but I will be disappointed if we don't get a win. It doesn't have to be big, but I think we need to show up and have a good crack.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, so obviously Ollie, Florence come back in. Hayward came back in from injury. How do you guys think they went? Do they hold? I know. Harps, you said maybe Hayward comes back out. I thought maybe he was injured or something. He was pretty quiet, right?
Yeah.
I
I mean,
he was pretty quiet. Yeah.
You go, Waughsie. What do you think, mate?
Well, no, I think he was very quiet. At the game, he certainly seemed quiet. I don't know if anybody watched it on telly, whether he had. He looked like he was doing more, but at the game he was like missing in action.
He dropped that mark halfway through the first quarter, and things kind of changed after
led
that.
straight to a goal. Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
I mean, they've both got the kind of seniority card on their side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Cox, I don't think he doesn't strike me as a kind of bring someone in and drop them next game kind of manager. But equally, I mean, he's swung the axe a few times this year, hasn't he? So,
I didn't mind Ollie. I think Ollie's been okay.
I thought Ollie was okay.
I think he had his best games. Yeah. It actually reminded me of like what he's capable of, and like that's why it was so jarring to see his form this year, because he has been such a contributor, and I actually thought he was playing more defensively, and I made this comment ages ago. I remember him being most potent off the halfback, but obviously with Wicks sort of claiming that role and Cunningham coming back in, and Millsy sort of there as well, he's sort of been squeezed out, but then overlooked for a wing role through Jordan, McInerney, even Lloyd. So, yeah, look, I think his halfback wing role is there for the taking, and he showed a lot more than he has in recent weeks. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out in terms of potential trades and stuff. There's been a fair bit of chatter out there in the media, but look, it's going to be honest. Okay, if let's not do hypotheticals. I was going to say, how disappointed are you going to be if we lose to the Eagles in the last game of the year in Perth? I mean, bloody disappointed, right? Like stupid question, Noddy. But yeah, look,
I got a couple of questions for you. Just end of season questions, okay? Now, I'll stress that these are purely opinions, just hypotheticals. Just in a name and a reason. Please take a bit of time to think about it if you need. Is there a player we won't see in a Swans jersey at the SCG again? Name one player you think we won't see playing for the Swans at the SCG again.
So I think so obviously the players that are uncontracted, there's a few of them still. Rampy probably heads that list, right, as senior clubman. I think probably you would, and I had this point from Stephen from the Rookie in Red and White today. I was texting him. He probably would have announced his retirement by now, because you'd think he might have done something at the last home game, right?
Right.
Against the Cats. So if he hasn't done that, then you can probably expect him to roll around. And even in my mad notes, I've got him extending, but being more of a depth player. So, if he's there to be in the starting team, he can, but it's more of a leadership role. And so with that, obviously comes salary reduction ramifications. But so I won't say Rampy. But maybe in the same vein, Adams. I just don't know where he's at. Right, he's obviously not. He's had his hamstring issues this year. He's obviously capable to play AFL still. He's got a year left on his contract, but is he cracking in to a team when we've played our best? He's not in our best team. Now he might not have been available with some of the timing of those injuries, but is he someone that might just finish up in the VFL? What about Foxy? Foxy's another one.
I was thinking Fox. Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, he's not been injured all season, has he? He's been available. Look, this is one for this might get you scratching your chin. I feel like possibly McLean or Amati.
I can't believe we're having this. We've literally got like 10 minutes before we've got to wrap this up, and you're like, let's have a deep trade talk. And I'm like chomping.
I asked for one
bit.
name.
I don't know, mate. But you can't. Okay, all right. You're gonna go Marty and McLean. Okay, go for it.
And I say that I just think I think Logan. They put a lot of effort into Logan. I think he's kind of first choice forward. So I don't think he's going anywhere. I think Bull is impressed this year.
Yep.
And I think then off the back of that, I don't think there's space for two more tall forwards. So,
but there's all this talk of us targeting someone, a big name, whether that's Kerno or someone else, Jamara. I'm not quite sure what's going on there.
Yeah.
Myercheck is unrestricted free agent. So there's all we could literally have we could have 3 new talls or 2 new talls, but we're probably not going to do that. It's probably going to be about 3 or 4 players that we try to bring in to immediately improve, because we are in the window. It would be such a shame to not try and have another deep push when Grundy's playing how he is, when Heaney's at the top of his powers.
Yeah,
you've got Chad is extended for.
Yeah.
So Chad and Grundy are around for 2 more years at least, 2027. So that's my window. I think we need to go hell for leather next year, and at the end of this season, to go next year and the year after, and maybe the year after that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I've held back over the past couple of weeks on my daily updates of what's happening with the list in my mind.
Let's save it for next week, Noddy. Next week, we're planning to do highlights of the season. We'll also talk about the West Coast game, look ahead to who we think is going to be in the grand final, and we can finally take the lid off and pierce the seal on the trade discussion.
Oof. I might have finalised my thoughts by then, because it is a moving living organism. But yeah, no, look, it's good. Look, I think most Swans fans would agree, and we've said this before. Rampy replacement. Who's that going to be? We'd love to have a Josh Kennedy tall mid. Haven't had that since he's left, and then a dominant key forward, right?
Yeah.
And so it's how the current players fit in with us potentially bringing 3 or 4 players in, regardless of whether that's through trade or unrestricted free agent movement.
Yeah.
So,
you said Petrarca and Oliver both looking around. Is that right?
Look, that was a bit of chat at the time. It's hard to know. Goodwin's been removed, and they're both $1 million players, right? So I don't think we have we probably can bring in $1 million player. And I think if you're going to spend that money, history shows that Sydney will do that for a key forward.
Yeah.
And, most clubs might. Well, I think we've got enough gun mids to not have to worry too much about that area. Although one more tall mid might be nice. But yeah, I think if you're going to go big, if you've got $1 million to get one player, who are you going to spend it on? A gun key defender or a gun key forward?
Well, offense wins games, but defense wins premierships. No.
Yeah.
It's an NFL quote, but
yeah, no, I think it rings true in Aussie rules as well. I just think it's probably Kerno, even though there's all this talk of, it's just trade games at the moment. But
okay, let's park it. But I'm looking forward to it, Noddy. We all are. Waughsie, still on a positive note, you were at the AFLW at North Sydney Oval Friday night. That was a good game, great crowd as well. How'd you go there, mate?
It was a beautiful night. Bit cold. Weather stayed good though. Nice clear skies. Like you mentioned, a very, very excitable crowd there, really supporting the girls who came home with a win, 58 over 38 to the Tigers. And I mentioned last week Zippy Fish. He came out firing on debut, 26 disposals, no goals. The goal machine, Chloe Malloy, absolutely cleaned up with 4. The Swans really, really dominated. Looks really good for a great season.
I think Zippy almost equaled the record for most touches on debut. But obviously, bevy of Bloods, AFLW potty will go. They'll dig deep and have a crack. Chris, Stevo, and Jen. So yeah, definitely listen out for that one.
Beautiful oval, isn't it, North Sydney? Looks. I mean, they I don't know if you know this. A lot of people do. They moved the SCG stands. They disassembled them and moved them up to North Sydney Oval. That's why it looks so much like the SCG.
Huh. I did not know that. Did you say a lot of people know that?
Yes, I didn't want to preach to the choir about things you knew, but yeah, they disassembled everything apart from the member stand at the SCG, and they shipped it over the bridge to North Sydney Oval, which is why it's got the same roofs and the same architecture.
There you go. You learn something every day. Thanks, Harps.
No worries at all.
You have been reading a book on the history of AFL, haven't you?
We'll save that for next week, Noddy.
Okay,
I've been fascinated by this book. It's called A Game of Our Own. I think it's Jeff Blaney. But it is wonderful. It's a truly interesting history of not only how AFL came about, but also the city of Melbourne. It's so good, actually. I was at my daughter's book fair earlier in the week, and one of the mothers was saying, "Oh, my son won't read any non-fiction books. He won't read Harry Potter. He won't do it because it's not true." And I said, "This kid's like 6." I said, "I've got a great book on the history of AFL, actually, if he's interested in learning about the gold rush in the 1850s."
Harps, you're going to have an off-season AFL book club, are you?
I don't think there are many out there, actually. But
member of one.
Certainly, yeah.
Can't imagine many 6-year-olds putting their hand up for that, mate. But you never know.
Yeah, low membership, and then we read the one book, and we're like, "What do we read now?" Where we read Barry Hall's autobiography or something. Anyway. Also a good read. All right. Any final thoughts, boys?
Oh, look, I just want to see us. I want to see us win, however we need to. I just want to win. We want to carry that win over to 2026.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's a long way to fly just for a walk in the park, right?
Okay. Brings us to the end of the episode. So thank you for listening all the way through. And if you made it this far, it must mean we're doing something right. So if you haven't already, give us a like and a follow.
Whether in person or on the potty, we look forward to whenever you can join us next time. But until then, up the Bloods. Can you see? Come on. Finish strong. Go, get it done.
This podcast is an independent fan-run production and is in no way affiliated with the Sydney Swans Football Club, its players, or the AFL. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect those of the Sydney Swans or any official organisation. All commentary is intended for entertainment and discussion purposes only.